Welcome back. Our top story this half an hour, U.S.-China trade. Chinese Vice Premier Liu He speaking out about last week's trade negotiations in Washington. He said that substantial progress was made. This as both sides gear up for a trade call this week. Last hour, I spoke with Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and spoke to him about a potential deal with China. Here's what he said.
We would like to make a deal, but from our point of view, it has to be the right deal, and it doesn't have to be in November. It's more critical that it be a proper deal than exactly when it occurs.
So you wouldn't mind not doing a signing at APEC then, November 15th or 17th, whenever it is?
The key thing is to get everything right that we do sign. That's the important element. That's what the president is wedded to.
All right, joining me right now is the National Economic Council Director, Larry Kudlow. And Larry, it is good to see you this morning.
Thank you, Maria.
Love
Thank
having
you
here.
very much.
But you just heard your colleague,
yes,
Secretary Wilbur Ross, basically playing down November 15th and November 17th at the APEC meeting. Maybe we won't sign it on that day. Is China making demands on you, saying, look, we're not signing anything unless you take the December tariffs off the table?
No, actually, that's not the case. The president did agree to suspend the
October tariff.
October 15th tariffs. I want to get my tariff dates right. But, you know, I really like what they're saying on the other side. So my hunch is, and this is up to the president, ultimately, if the talks go well on phase one, there is a chance we can get those December tariffs off. I can't guarantee it. It's completely up to the president. But I did want to read two things. You're right. Vice Premier Liu He, their trade leader, U.S. and China made substantial progress at trade talks, Chinese premier said. That's a very cool thing. And you know what? Before that, about a few days afterwards, the foreign ministry of China, which often says things that are not so kind to the United States, I mean, they said the two sides are also unanimous in the issue of reaching an economic and trade agreement. There is no difference. The economic and trade agreement will be of great significance to both of us. We've made a lot of progress. I guess it's fashionable to say we haven't. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of pessimism. I don't know that my predictions are any better than anybody else, yeah, but I will say this. The mood music continues to be good. The substantive progress, okay, on agriculture, by the way, not just buying farm products, but opening up market access in a number of ways, financial services, currency reform, intellectual property rights, very much on the table.
What really are we getting on intellectual property? Are they going to agree to an enforcement deal, that an enforcement mechanism is in there to say that there are consequences if they continue to steal intellectual property? I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Liu He, because isn't it that individual himself who was all great, we got great progress done back in April, then he goes back to China, and the hardliners said, no, in fact, you're not going to be our spokesperson, and you're not going to travel on the Chinese jet. You're going to go commercial. I mean, wasn't he like, seriously, wasn't he like put in the back seat?
They took his envoy title away.
Exactly.
Not good.
Exactly.
But not this time. And as I say, so far the mood music coming out of Beijing has been pretty good. And again, it's hard to predict the future. All I can say is we made a lot of progress. I think we're very close on opening financial services and the currency stability deal, which is essentially an IMF deal. I think the agriculture, they started buying farm products, as you know.
Did they commit to that?
$40 to $50 billion
Because
worth.
They're not using that number. Now, the U.S. is saying $40 to $50 billion in agricultural products, but the Chinese aren't saying that.
Well, I haven't heard them disregard it. I haven't heard them dish it. Not yet. We will see. On IP, you ask a good question. Trade Ambassador Lighthizer wants enforcement. We must have enforcement. And I think President Trump would insist on that as well. But again, there's a lot of work being done toward that end, and that work will continue between now and APEC, which is about a month away.
Yeah, November 15th, 17th,
in Chile. So I'm going to take it, on the positive side for the moment until proven otherwise. But it's got to be the right deal for the United States. The president's going to defend the American economy, no question about it. I mean, here's the thought. President Trump has changed the narrative on China.
Definitely.
Okay?
I said that earlier in the show, and I agree with that.
And
That's the best thing about this.
And he has backed up his changed attitude towards China with tariffs. Okay? He will use them when they are necessary. So I don't think anybody can possibly accuse him of being soft on China or anything close to that. We will have our people, Mnuchin and Lighthizer and others, we will go as far as we can go. All I'll say is right now, coming off the talks 2 Fridays ago, things look pretty good. That's all I can say.
I want to get to USMCA, but I got to ask. Let's finish this conversation on this because we just had Paul Wolfowitz sitting in your seat.
A brilliant friend of mine.
And he was great. And he basically brought up the issue of 1 to 2 million Uyghurs sitting in concentration camps right now. And then there's this quote from Xi Jinping saying, anyone attempting to split China in any part of the country will end up with crushed bodies and shattered bones. Those bones will be pounded to dust. The president of China said that. So is any of this behavior in terms of the way they treat their citizens coming into the conversation?
Well, human rights is a very important part of this. The president has made that very clear. That includes the freedom and democracy movement going on in Hong Kong. President Trump has made that very clear. In terms of what you just read, sounded pretty tough to me. They used to call us running dogs and stuff like that, so maybe it's not quite as bad today as it was. But the Uyghur problem, the Muslim problem, look, we are engaged in a very difficult struggle with China regarding trade, the economy, technology, human rights, national security. Okay, you see this. The National Economic Council in the White House. One of my biggest responsibility is looking at 5G and the role of Huawei. You talked about Secretary Ross before. Obviously, we have an entity list that is going to continue. Now, these things may be adjudicated over time. I don't know. We are now having a more realistic view of China and the competition between the two countries.
No, that's right, and that's because President Trump changed the conversation.
He just completely changed
China.
And we cannot let them steal our family technological jewels, which is the heart of American innovation and why we are growing the fastest in the world. I hope we get to that. I hope we get to this. It's good to see that this is a priority for you. I want to get to that Moody's Analytics thing in a minute, but USMCA. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador sending a letter to the House Ways and Means Committee urging Congress to pass the trade deal. Vice President Mike Pence getting ready to deliver a speech today on USMCA. Larry, here we are on the day of the Canadian elections. A lot of people said this has to be passed by the Canadian elections. Peter Navarro said if it doesn't get done by now or by Thanksgiving, it's not getting done. Is this not getting done? Well, again, these are tough forecasts you're asking me. I know without question President Trump has some pretty big political disagreements with Speaker Pelosi. Okay, we know that. On the other hand, I will say this. Throughout the course of this discussion regarding USMCA, where there is considerable support in the Democratic House Conference, she has been accessible and open and accommodative. And I talked to Bob Lighthizer late last week. He was still negotiating with key Democratic House leaders on USMCA. So I think if Democrats want to go home and say, look, we can pass substantive legislation that would be a big booster rocket to the United States economy, you know, extra half a point of GDP, couple 100,000 jobs, a lot of maybe $100 billion direct investment. In other words, I am separating the two. There are political disagreements. Those are going to play out. But the USMCA may still be alive and well. That is my own view. That is a view shared by some others in the administration.
All of this has to do with what the president's standing is going into 2020. Most people will say the uncertainty around China is slowing down the U.S. economy. The president needs a good economy going into 2020. You just showed me a map. The Moody's Analytics poll basically says the president will crush the Democrats come 2020. That was their survey that came out last week. What's your thought in terms of the economy weakening as a result of all of these trade issues around what it does for the president's re-election campaign?
Actually, the economy is still pretty strong. I mean, we've had headwinds, severe monetary tightening, which I think now is turning around. The Fed is shifting their policy. That's a good thing. We're the only economy really growing. The rest of the world, particularly Europe, has hurt our manufacturing and our manufacturing exports. On the other hand, I just want to note some stats, because this Moody's thing is interesting. Oxford Economics also said the same thing. They're not exactly best friends of the administration, so I was interested. When you look at pocketbook issues, what Reagan used to call take-home pay, that is booming. Stock market, booming. Unemployment, 3.5%.
51-year low.
51-year low. These are very inflation, okay, barely discernible. When you look at economic models that translate into presidential elections, those key variables, okay, take-home pay, stocks, unemployment, low inflation, those give the president tremendous advantage. I mean, you look at this map, the Moody's thing has our administration winning in all these Midwestern states, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin. They've even got Minnesota, Pennsylvania, down in the Carolinas and Florida. In other words, the economy is a powerful force when it comes to re-election. And I dare say my reading of this famous transcript with President Zelensky of Ukraine, there has never been a quid pro quo. It was never discussed in that. There was never any pressure on Zelensky, which he told us at the UN. I don't know if we have more time to talk about this, but I think there's a lot of stats coming in. Better housing. Better manufacturing. Looks like we're in a turning zone back up now that the Fed has loosened up finally. So I think this is pretty good stuff.
Larry,
I'm very optimistic. What else is new? I'm always optimistic.
It's great to see you, Larry. Thank you so much. Larry Kudlow. We'll be right back.